Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, Lauren here, and today I'll be going over a 31 Neltharus that we managed to time this previous week with the affixes of Tyrannical, Incorporeal, and Spiteful. I will have the build that I played on this key in the talents down below, and yeah, I hope you enjoy the video. I want to be somewhat brief with the commentary on this video since a lot of the healing requirement comes from bosses, and a lot of the trash in this dungeon is very scripted since you do it mainly with chains, and honestly that's it. And I want to be showcasing how you should be playing around with AA+PTC, which is the build that I'm playing mostly with these days, as you guys might know. And if you have watched my Twitch videos, which you can also find me on Twitch, twitch.tv/LarenTV. And yeah, I will be also giving some final thoughts on Shaman in the upcoming patch, which is 10.2, and how the new tier set will affect Shaman. Spoilers, it won't affect us that much because it's pretty underwhelming. And I also want to give my thoughts on how Shaman will perform in the upcoming season, both in Mythic Plus and in raids. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video, and make sure you follow, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one. Enjoy. And here we have Magmatusk, which is the first boss of the dungeon. And Magmatusk, in my opinion, is a bit of a tricky one because of how the boss skills, specifically on Tyrannical, you're gonna feel like your Primordial Wave and to some extent your Cloudburst are gonna be desynced just because of how long the debuff lasts by the 4th volatile mutation, which I believe are 25 seconds of the debuff. By then you can definitely feel that your cooldowns are a bit desynced and you kind of have to rely on Healing Surge to get people back up unless you have a healing cooldown saved. But primarily what you want to be doing on this boss is you want to apply Riptide, ideally on cooldown, and you want to cast Healing Rain on cooldown as well. What this does is you are stacking up your 4-piece bonus, which is a buff called Swelling Rain. And per stack, your next Healing Wave is gonna do 10% increased healing. Before incoming AoE damage, which is volatile mutation in this boss, in the specific case, you also want to be at 2 to 3 stacks of undulation, and why you want to be doing this is because people to this day are, and honestly you cannot blame them because of how undulation is working currently, people are not playing well around undulation. And what I mean is, if you primordial wave cleave people with undulation active, only the initial person that you're gonna be healing with Healing Wave is gonna get affected by undulation. However, if you are at 2 to 3 stacks of undulation, the person who you're gonna be healing is gonna get healed with that Healing Wave, and then the third will be on a cleave for the whole party, so everyone is gonna get affected by the whole primordial wave cleaved. So what this does is you have undulation, which is 50% increased healing on Healing Wave, and you have Swelling Rain on top of that. And obviously this depends on the stacks of Swelling Rain that you have available. So if it's 4 stacks before the AoE, you have 50% plus 40%, and those two modifiers are a insane AoE healing tool that you have for the whole group pretty much every 30 seconds. The color of my eye is so weird. Yeah, like the health is like when, well, pretty much it's black. So when it's filled, they're healthy. The background is, well, they're missing health. But yeah, I get it. Like from someone coming from the regular colors, class colors, I guess it's a bit awkward to understand. 1 VP 30 when we stopped trolling. Kappa. I think we're like 1 minute behind to the 31 I did a couple weeks ago, but let's see. And here we have Scalecommander Chargath, which is the second boss of the dungeon. This encounter is super scripted, and all you have to do is pretty much press Riptide on cooldown, as well as Healing Rain, so you can stack up your 4-piece bonus which is a buff called Swelling Rain. So ideally, before Grounding Spear, which is the AoE damage pattern existent on Chargath, you wanna place down a Cloudburst before the first spears go out. Just as they go out, you cast Healing Rain ideally, so people get somewhat healed by the 2-piece bonus, which is Tide Waters. And then just make sure that Riptide does not expire on anyone the moment you are about to heal people with Primordial Wave. So you want to be at 2 to 3 stacks of Undulation, have somewhat between 5 to 10 stacks of Swelling Rain, which is, like I said, your 4-piece bonus, and you're gonna have Cloudburst available, you're gonna Primordial Wave, Healing Wave, and everyone's gonna pretty much get topped up, and then you can recall Cloudburst manually, or you can let it expire if need be, so you can heal people back up from the last Grounding Spear's debuff. And this is pretty much the encounter, since, like I said, everything's super scripted. VP is a fucking pain. Yeah, it's one of those keys where like you actually have to time it. Like you literally cannot have any death. And the key is easier on Taran, but it's still very punishing if you have like deaths anywhere, because the last boss takes a lot of time, sadly. Oh yeah, the first packs in the dungeon are the most cringe ever. For sure. I mean, to be honest, every Cataclysm dungeon is just horrible in terms of like trash mechanics or boss mechanics. It's kind of like Throne of the Tides, like I'm not looking for at all for Throne of the Tides. Like honestly, any BFA dungeon is a banger.
No, it's boss, right? It's boss. So it's not and then we where's the boss now? Oh, we did some.
And here we have the third boss of the dungeon, which is Forgemaster Gorek. This boss fight is probably the most rewarding as a healer and one of the most fun as a shaman playing with this build. And that is due mainly because of the boss's mechanics being on a 30-second cooldown, as well as your Primordial Wave, which is your biggest source of healing, which is obviously Healing Wave, is also on a 30-second cooldown. So this boss fight is probably one of the most scripted, as you can play as a shaman. There's a lot of them this season, but this is definitely one of the biggest examples that I can give if you're playing this build. It can be very deadly, to be honest, if you fall behind on your setup with this build as well. But once you have it settled, it's super, super rewarding. So what you see me doing is my frame is turning blue when someone has a Riptide on them. And pretty much I'm just casting Riptide on cooldown, as well as Healing Rain, which is my 4-piece bonus. This stacks up to a maximum of 15, but normally throughout these scripted fights you can definitely have between 5 to 10 before you need to heal a big AoE mechanic. What you want to be doing before that same AoE mechanic is you want to place Cloudburst down. You can manage to heal people by pressing Healing Rain if you can, because then they get healed by the 2-piece bonus, which is Tide Waters, which is also a big source of your healing. You want to be at 2 to 3 stacks of Undulation, so you get that big fat 50% cleave on Primordial Wave. You want to then Primordial Wave, and then you Healing Wave the whole group, and then you can recall manually your Cloudburst, or you can let it expire if you need to top the group back up from the next mechanic, which is Blazing Aegis, which is usually covered by Cloudburst, like I said, but you can definitely pair Primordial Wave if you need during one of the Might of the Forge mechanics with Ancestral Guidance or Spirit Link or Ascendance or Healing Tide. I definitely recommend you breaking these cooldowns apart. You definitely do not want to pair them because you might fall a bit behind in healing if in some scenario you need one of the cooldowns. So, but yeah, like this boss fight is super scripted and it is insane of how good Healing Wave / Primordial Wave is so good on this boss. And yeah, as a sort of outro, and because I also referred at the beginning of the video, I just wanted to give my honest opinion on Shaman in the upcoming patch. As a TLDR, I guess, is Shaman will be very fine, as it has been in the past. Sure, sometimes it has been at its lowest. I wasn't there. Well, I was there in Vault of the Incarnates. That was definitely not good for us up until the point where it was, but then we got completely neutered 2 weeks after. Meanwhile, Holy Paladins exist for a whole season. But what I mean is, Shaman will be fine. I see a lot of dooming now these days, and what I can tell you is the current talent tree issues remain and have been there for a long time, and they have not been answered, which I can only hope for some sort of class/talent rework in the future, surely soon, Copium. But Blizzard has definitely been there when it comes to tuning, and in some sense I appreciate the tuning. However, I think it's a bit weird, the things that they have been targeting, because our new tier set bonus compared to this one, in my opinion and in a lot of people's opinions, is very underwhelming. Mostly the 4-piece bonus. So before, you never really wanted to play around Chain Heal because only one person gets Tidal Reservoir, which is a buff provided from the 4-piece bonus. And all of a sudden you had this playstyle promoted that do not press Chain Heal because it's very mana costly. It does not have the same healing efficiency as spamming Riptide and Healing Wave 24/7. And even if you talent into all of the Chain Heal talents, it is not a good choice. So they have been buffing Chain Heal and reducing its mana cost even recently, but it still doesn't go according to the tier set because of how little it interacts with. And honestly, in Mythic Plus, I feel like Shaman will be fine, if even somewhat better. In my opinion, in terms of throughput, it will definitely be better. In terms of playstyle, it will be worse, in my honest opinion, but I feel like, in general, gameplay, I feel like Shaman will be better for somewhat the majority of people, because the build that it will be playing in Mythic Plus will be somewhat the build that you were playing in 10.1 and before that, which is High Tide paired with Tidebringer, the capstone in Primordial Wave, which is continuous waves, and either Ancestral Reach or Flow of the Tides. But yeah, I think I see a lot of dooming, to be honest, from either streamers, and I also participate in a lot of class discords. My honest opinion is Shaman will be fine. Don't be afraid to play it. You can still succeed very high with Shaman. You can definitely get Hall of Fame. You can get Cutting Edge. You can definitely time high keys, like other people have in previous seasons. And you can definitely prove that even though Shaman has a lot of issues, which I definitely do not wanna pass on those, I agree and concur with a lot of class authors, namely Thune, that Shaman has a lot of issues that I kinda wanna see resolved in the future. But yeah, Shaman is definitely viable of competitive high endgame content, and you should definitely keep playing it. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and make sure you follow and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys on the next one.